Hey there guys, Railgun Productions here, and this is my first episode of my series for the Railfan Collab, which I don't really have a title for, so I'm just going to call it the RGP series for now, or maybe I'll think of a title by the time the video gets posted. I don't know, but basically it's going to be railroads. Basically, all of the tracks are demolished, like just instantly destroyed for some weird reason, and all the railroads have to restart from their headquartered city, like CSX's Jacksonville, Florida, or Norfolk Southern's Norfolk, which, speaking of Norfolk Southern's Norfolk, that's the railroad we are going to be focusing on today. So, let's get started. So, of course, to be efficient, NS would probably start with a line to the nearest big city, which would be Richmond, Virginia. So it would probably look a little bit different. It would look kind of like CSX's RF&P sub. So that's how the first line would look. Connections from Norfolk to Richmond, Virginia. Next up, they would probably want to get a line that goes to Roanoke to connect another city. Ah, crud, I failed that. So now they have connections to Roanoke, so they can do coal shipping out from Roanoke to Norfolk, I guess? I don't know. Next up, I shouldn't be adding these super fast. Basically, since Amtrak doesn't exist yet, the freight railroads would run their own passenger service, so they would have passenger service between Roanoke and Norfolk, stopping in Richmond. So, Next up, they would probably take a swing south, going to Greensboro, North Carolina, and also swooping to Charlotte. So, that is their next big decision. This gets them intermodal traffic between Charlotte and Norfolk. That is definitely some good money that they'll be getting from that. So then, after that, they would have, this would be their first two multiple lines. And this would be like their first junction, which would be Charlotte, North Carolina. So one of them would go south to Jacksonville and stop in Savannah, as well as whatever city's right here. I forget what it is. But it would go down to Jacksonville, Florida. And then it would go out of Charlotte to, hold on, I failed. Or I shouldn't say I failed, I messed up. And it would go to whatever this city is. I forget what it's called. Let me do some quick research. Greenville, South Carolina, to Atlanta, Georgia, Inman Yard. By the way, Columbia, South Carolina is the city right here. So now you've got service all the way from Jacksonville to Norfolk. So out of Savannah, they'd probably make a rail line going from Charleston up to Myrtle Beach, just for the purpose of passenger service. And then have another line paralleling the line to, failed that too. Having another line paralleling the line to Norfolk and going up there. So this is what the Norfolk Southern system would look like after about 10 or so, maybe 10 to 15 years of operating. Their farthest south would be Jacksonville, farthest north being Lynchburg, I believe. Hold on, let me check this. That's actually Charlottesville, farthest north being Charlottesville. Alrighty. So next up, NS decides to create the same line that I live by to get up to Portsmouth, Ohio. Well, even though it doesn't go out to Columbus quite yet. So now their farthest north is Portsmouth, so they can get the coal from the south up to Ohio. So that's a pretty big, or not super big, but kind of big milestone for them. Next up, is the, let's see, next up would be finishing up the Crescent Corridor, or at least what's the modern day Crescent Corridor, going down to New Orleans. So now they go all the way down to New Orleans, all the way up to Norfolk, and they have a straight line that goes all the way up there. So next up after that, this is about 23 years into their operating, probably 25. Next up would be a line probably out of North Carolina. I keep on just saying next up. I keep on adding random lines. I need to talk about what kind of trains are going to operate. So they would obviously have that still big intermodal terminal in Atlanta, Georgia. They would probably still have that. And they would probably connect Tallahassee and Jacksonville. Now that they've got the option. But keep in mind that CSX, that's probably going to be what their first line is. So, yeah. But anyways, after they finish that, I need to keep on talking about what they would run. So between New Orleans and so far Norfolk, Virginia, including stops in Charlotte and Atlanta as well as Birmingham, would be the Crescent Corridor, sort of. It's the intermodal service, that kind of thing. Next up, they decide to build a line northbound out of Birmingham that goes through Chattanooga and Knoxville and goes up through Lexington, Kentucky, and up to Cincinnati. It's a pretty good decision, I guess. And out of Knoxville, they have a line that goes through Asheville. This is also for the purpose of kind of intermodal going up to Cincinnati, as well as mixed freight and coal going through the mountains and to get up to Cincinnati and that kind of stuff. So next up out of Cincinnati, they would also have a junction to Portsmouth, as well as Indianapolis, as well as going up to Dayton, and then Columbus, and then Cleveland. So yeah, I think that's nearly done. We still have to add some stuff though, such as a line going up through Richmond, connecting Washington, Philadelphia, and New York. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the NS system. This is about maybe 30 years into their operating. They operate between New Orleans and New York, as well as Cleveland and New Orleans, Jacksonville, all the way up to Indianapolis. Yeah, Norfolk Southern, pretty good in this timeline. But maybe I should add a line to St. Louis just because they can. Alright, yeah, that seems reasonable. Seems. Except for the fact that they would probably build a line to Chicago just to be economic. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this short video to kick off this series. This would probably be what the NS would end up doing. Now the thing is, for these, maybe on my channel I will build some of the fictional subdivisions and divisions or corridors and routes that have been created in these episodes, but that will have to be probably after the series is finished. So yeah, I managed to get this under 10 minutes, surprisingly. I thought it would be a lot longer, but we managed to do it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe to Railgun Productions, as well as Crypto Pilot, Trains and Stuff, and Husky Rail Fanner. They're the other people that run this channel. And make sure to watch their series as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video on my channel, as well as the next video on Railfan Collab.